talk to this here in the telegraph. Epitaph.
Hello once again and welcome to another edition of Handicappers Corner. I'm Mike Heads along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Saturday, July 28th races at Hastings Racecourse. Beautiful Hastings Racecourse. We do have 8 races on tap. Should be a great afternoon.
Should be a great weekend too. Beautiful weekend. Clear skies and sun all weekend hopefully. Yeah, exactly. As you look at these forms, you see a lot of horses been running on muddy tracks. They're finally getting to run on fast tracks. So you have to adjust your handicapping a little bit there.
Yep.
And 8 races on card, a lot of good fields. Jump right into it. Fillies and Mares, maiden $3,000 claimers. And I've gone to the 5 Buffalo Babe in here. It's a horse that has kind of been steadily declining down the ladder. Probably found her spot last time at the $3,000 level. Just missed. It was a bunch of horses kind of right at the wire there, and she only got beat a length and a half, ran third behind Play for Peace, Star Whacker. I think she graduates today. I have her on top. The second spot I went with the 2, Final Curtain Call. Another horse that was in that same race, just got beat 3 lengths. As I said, there was a whole bunch kind of coming to the wire there. She was in that mix. She picks up Amadeo Perez for the recently departed Inoue Beato, who has moved his tack to Parks in Philadelphia. So Amadeo takes a call on that one. And the third spot, I went to a horse, only had 2 starts here, has had some rough luck. I'm thinking maybe she starts to put it together as a 6 horse, All Roses. Pretty well-bred little filly that maybe can start to put it together a little bit. Marnie Williams has had quite a bit of success for Len Kazmierski this year, so I've got her in the third spot. 5, 2, and 6 for me.
Yeah, there's no real toss-out in this race. I mean, I think all 6 fillies have a shot. There's no standout. I agree with you. I've gone to the 5 Buffalo Babe, has some speed. Ran a lot better last time, at least has something to build on. At least all those races prior, which were not all that good, she's been able to build on those ones to get such a good race last time, so it was a lot better. She's on the improve anyway, and you like to stick with those horses that are making progression. I put the 6 horse All Roses in for second. She showed good speed in her race here at Hastings. She also showed good speed down at Golden Gate, but as you mentioned, Marnie's riding very well, and could be a live one here. Just go right to the front, play catch me if you can. And I put the 3 horse Majestic Woman in for third. She's hit the board quite a few times this year. Let's toss her in for the show spot. I went 5, 6, and 3 in the Saturday opener. On to the second race. That's a maiden allowance, or optional claimer. $40,000 is the claiming price. Actually, they're all protected. 6 furlongs, 2-year-olds. Got a couple of fillies in here. I've gone to the one filly, the 6 horse 1030, who pretty impressive in her 2 starts to date. She did lose to Market Way, a very good filly out of the Troy Taylor barn, and then came back to get a rough trip in the Boulevard Casino and had to settle for second again that day. Just pretty unfortunate in both of her runs to lose to Market Way, and I know Market Way would be 1-9 in here. So Richard Hamill rides, as you mentioned, for the departed Inoue Beato, and I think she's definitely the one to beat. I put the 8, Lord Harlow, in for second. Tried blinkers last time. That experiment's halted. Obviously, his form went the wrong way, so they're going to take the blinkers back off and return to a maiden race as well. That'll be a big key. And I put the 7 Tracker, who goes first-time Lasix for his first 2-turn race. He was wide out in his first up run, going 3.5 furlongs. He was 4 and 5 wide throughout, and does lose Amadeo Perez to the bottom horse, but still picks up Antonio Reyes. He's been riding very well, but definitely the 6, 1030. I went 6, 8, and 7.
I agree with you on the top 2. I really like 1030. I think she's a standout in here. Lord Harlow, a horse that's had a lot of races, so she's definitely in the pretty tough in here. One of the more seasoned horses. So looking for a third horse in here, I kind of kept looking. I ended up going with the 4 Shotgun Ralph out of the Rob Van Overshot barn. I know this is a horse that's been working right along regularly. Fernando Perez has been aboard for all the works. I know he thinks he's a decent little horse, so. I think, as I mentioned, the 6 and 8 I think are standouts. Beyond that, it was kind of just pick him, and I went with the 4, Shotgun Ralph. I think he could make a little bit of noise. It's his first start, but
he'll be a good price.
Yeah, he'll be a good price. So take a shot on him. 6, 8, and 4 for me. And on to the third, 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of the year for $3,000. And I've gone to the 4, Mo Power. This is a horse who's been second his last 2 starts in the non-winners of the year $5,000 level. He takes a little drop down to the $3,000 level. Not sure how it's going to set up for him. There's a little bit of pace in here and whatnot. He likes to come running, but I think he's just the best horse in here. Marlowe knows the horse. He has ridden him before, has won on him before last fall. And she's always got along really well with this horse. He's kind of a finicky horse, so I have him on top. In the second spot, I went with the 3-horse Dakar guy, who was really flying at the end in the last race. He's another good closer. I really liked his move, as I mentioned. He got a good buyer that day, was flying at the end, so I put him in the second spot. In the third spot, Mucho Verde, one of the ones who's going to be in that pace scenario. Of those horses, I think he might be the best. Just ran, a few legs behind Sufi Dancer and Too Much Dirt. Sufi Dancer came back and won the first edition of the marathon by, looked like for fun. He won it by a few. So ran into a tough horse that day. So it's 4, 3, and 7 for me.
Yeah, I like Mucho Verde. I don't see a pile of speed in here. I think he can get to the front. He had to go with Sufi Dancer last time. Like, he was the one that was out there with the best horse. You know, that one spit him out, and it cost him second. It's Too Much Dirt nailed him late, but Too Much Dirt had a perfect trip and went up the inside to defeat him for second. So I really think Mucho Verde's the one to beat. I like him a lot. If he gets left bone in the front end, like I'm hoping he is, he's going to be tough to catch with the lightweight. I put the 2, Too Much Dirt in for second, and I put the 3, Dakar guy in for third. I think those are the 2 closers that might be able to nail Mucho Verde, but I think Mucho Verde is going to go all the way on the head end. So 7, 2, and 3 for me in the third. On to the fourth race, got some 2,400. Yeah, 2,400. You heard it right.
That's right.
Claimers.
New condition here.
Yeah, new condition. First, if you have not run first, second, or third at the meeting, so you have to run fourth or worse, and you're eligible for this $2,400 race. You can't have run 1, 2, 3 all year at Hastings.
They run those horses in Phoenix. These kind of conditions.
There's a few Portland, Phoenix. There's a couple of tracks that do have had success with this condition, trying to spread the money around, get the horses that are hard luck horses that are running 5th and 6th, get them a chance to win the pot. So we'll see how it works out. I went to the 6-horse Huffman in here. It is a sprint. I think he might be the fastest of the bunch. I've been tackling the Slickster and Boom Boom Express last time. I don't see a ton of speed in here. I think he might be able to find his way to the front. I'm going to try Huffman to win a race where you're really going to have to search for good form, obviously, because he's been running 4th or worse. The 9-horse Fresh Mangold. This horse is a winner this year, but because it was for $2,500, it doesn't count against him. These races for races $2,500 or less don't count against you. So Fresh Mangold at least is a recent winner and pace casualty last time at Emerald. So, but this horse fits nice, I think.
Yeah.
And I put the 3-horse vying for victory in for second or for third. Pardon me. Returned to a sprint last time. He got hung out really wide. Better draw. He had some excuses last time. Give him another shot. He's better than that race indicates. But I'm going to go to the speedy number 6, Huffman. I went 6, 9, and 3.
Right with you. I took Huffman on top, as you mentioned. He looks like the toughest, kind of most accomplished horse in the field. The 2nd horse, Fresh Mangold. The 9-horse, I have him in for second. The only difference is I put Stellar Blue in the 3rd spot. Another one of Robbie Bay's, another horse he's bringing up here. Him and Fresh Mangold, he has 2 in here. And I like Stellar Blue. He's going from, he's been running routes, now back to a sprint. I think that might help his chances. I like that angle. And have him in for third. So it's 6, 9, and 7 for me. And on to the 5th, Fillies and Mares, 3 years and up, non-winners of the year. No, there's a 2 in the year, I should say, for $5,000. And I've gone to the 8 McGuire's Bridge here. She's not really a sprinter. All her best races have been going long, but I see a lot of speed in this race. So because of the pace scenario, I like McGuire's Bridge. One of the other horses in here I think will be tough is Maria Lake, who just won a sprint here, and McGuire's Bridge had some trouble getting. She was kind of like all over the track, and I think with a little better break, she could have got by her that day. So I put McGuire's Bridge on top, Maria Lake in second, and in the 3rd spot I went with the 3 Victory with Class. Filly's been running a lot higher all her life. Now drops down to the lowest level of her career, and that should put her in the mix here. So 8, 7, and 3 for me.
Yeah, I've gone to the horse you just mentioned, the 3 Victory with Class, another one that seems to get along well with Richard Hamill, and it's been since Richard was riding, since she's been running good races, and they're reunited again today, and I like Victory with Class. This horse hopped a bit at the start, lost some position. I don't think she really liked being stuffed down on the inside. I think the easier company today, as well as a better trip and a decent work since her last race. I'm going to try Victory with Class. I agree there should be a pretty good pace in here with Maida Vale, Perfect Hostess. There should be some good fractions in here, and Victory with Class should be able to take a trip in behind them. The 10-horse Dream in the Dark, I put her in for second. She hasn't really run a bad race all year, Didn't really need the 10 hole, but maybe she can stay clear of trouble. Maybe the 10 hole will be a blessing. And she might be able to run up into position. She's got decent gate speed. She might be able to lay third and behind the 4 and 5, who look like they're going to tear off. And she might be able to get the good tracking trip. So I put her in for second, and I put the 5, Perfect Hostess. I think of the speed, she'll last the longest, and I got her in for third. Yeah, the McGuire's Bridge Maria Lake race. I know maybe I'm underestimating it because I've left both of them off the ticket. Maybe that'll prove to be a mistake. But some races you just got to handicap as you think they're live or not live, and I just think that race might have been not as live as it looked like on paper. But that's just the way I'm going to gamble, and we'll see how it works out. But I went 3, 10, and 5 in the 5th.
Probably a race you want to go a little deeper.
Yes, I know. There's a lot of ways to go in the 5th race. In the 6th, non-winners of 2, Fillies and Mares, 4,000, sprinting 6.5 furlongs. I've landed on the speedy number 8, Victoria B. A good win back in the late May. Won easily in a very good time, going wire to wire, which earned her a start against non-2:17.5s. Going long though, if it was a sprint, I would have, she might have been more of a factor, but she was a pace casualty there. She chased the eventual winner, Queen's Vicar, who ran on and hid. Then they dropped her for 7,500 last time in a non-3, and didn't get the lead, got stuffed in behind horses, and I don't think she was very happy at all. I think she's going to get to the front in this race. She drops down again, non-2-4 here. So and Amadeo continues to stick with her, so I like Victoria B. I put the 2, Market Time, in for second. Pretty honest filly that continues to run good races. A decent second to a streaking Diamond Dancer last time. Yeah. And I put the 3, Exotic Light, who returns to a sprint. Really thought she'd like going long, but I think her best races have been going short. Just a late running sprinter. And I've got her in for third, but I went 8, 2, and 3 in the 6th.
I'm right with you. I got the 8 on top, as you mentioned. She looks like the tough horse, especially running against Queen's Vicar and those type horses. Market Time. I originally had Market Time on top. I couldn't decide. I went with Victoria B. Market Time, as you mentioned, I have in second. Only difference in third spot, I put Waif. Filly that found her level at the maiden 5 level. Come back, ran a good race in that Diamond Dancer Market Time race. She seems to have found her spot, so I have her in third spot. It's 8, 2, and 4 for me. And on to the 7th. Fillies and Mares, wide open, claiming 15,000. This is another one you might want to go a little deep in here. You can make a case for a lot of these. I ended up on the 4, Diana's Legacy. She was struggling a little bit earlier on this year, went down to the $5,000 level, got her win, then for 7,500. And she is a filly that when she gets on a roll,
she keeps going.
She seems to keep going. We saw it here last fall where she just kept knocking out the wins. So I'm going to stick with her on top. The second spot, I went with the 7, Notice Her. I haven't seen her for a while, but the last time she wasn't disgraced against Cry, 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 Jezebel, Random Highs, Dash and Daisy was in that race. She drops into a much easier spot. I think that puts her right in the mix here. Again, with Richard Hamill, we keep mentioning him. He's got some live mounts for his return back this weekend. And in the third spot, I put a horse that's jumping up as Holy Cougar out of the Glenn Todd barn, the Troy Taylor barn, I should say, North American Thoroughbred. Came up here, won her non-3 by 8. Then 5 non-winners of the year, going long, which she doesn't really want to do. She still was the best horse to be able to do that and win. Now she cuts back to a sprint. She does take a jump up, but sprinting is what she wants to do. So I have her in third spot, the 2. So it's 4, 7, and 2 for me.
Yeah, I've gone to the 1 horse, my bailout. I had a lot of trouble with this race.
I know, that's another one that I had in and then ended up not putting in at the end, but definitely a horse that
just ran last week, flopped going long, got hung out, pitched the rider in the gate.
Yeah.
Then there was a bit of a delay.
Wasn't her day.
She must have read the form and knew she was overmatched because she just didn't want to play at all. She went out there and she was out 3 wide on the head end. She got the race over with quickly, and she was done with way more than probably 3/8 of a mile to go. She was done, but she returns to a sprint, way better level. I'm going to give her a shot. Amadeo sticks with her. I agree with the 7 horse Notice Her. She dropping in class, no threat at the 25,000 level, but I think for 15 she's got to be in the mix.
I wasn't disgraced that day. She only got beat by
it wasn't a brutal race, but Richard Hamill's won on her in the past, so it's. I like to pay attention to those rider-horse combos that are successful. And I've got her in for second. And I put the 4 horse, Diana's Legacy, as you mentioned, for all the same reasons. Just a horse that when she gets on form, she gets good. She stays on form. And so even at this level, she's shown she can win up this high in the past. So I went 1, 7, and 4, but I'm very tough. I've left Lasting Spice off the ticket, a Sharp Delta Bouquet, Holy Cougar, and even Camino. It's a tough race. It's definitely a good betting race, the 7th. On to the 8th race, we do have some $7,500 claimers here. Non-winners of 3 lifetime. Going to Big field of 10 going 6.5 furlongs. Another difficult assignment. I've gone to the 5 Blood and Diamond. So we're going to throw out the last race going long. Prior to that, ran in an open 12-5 against Full Power Ahead, Matchable, and Art Kill. Gets into a conditional race. There are no non-twos for 7,500. You got to go for 4, and I know that Connections probably didn't want to go for 4 just yet, so give her a shot for 7,500. Frank Fuente's back aboard. He was aboard for that win. I think this horse can get the lead, and it doesn't need the lead if someone really wants it, but this horse has a lot of, it has a lot of pace to it and should get himself in good position. So I like him to win it. I put the 3 Quattrill's Raider in for second. Horse did benefit from a perfect trip in behind the speed last time, although the pace wasn't super fast. They only went 46 and 4 for the half, and this horse still ran on and won the money. But I definitely respect this horse, who's on a bit of a roll since the claim. And the 7 horse Little Brown Guy, distant second to runaway winner Lookout Dubai, but I think he has the right running style for this race. Someone's got to come from out of it, because it looks like Principe's Herbie, Puna Point, Dilwyn, horses will be battling for early positions, so someone's going to succumb in all that pace, and someone's going to come running from out of it. And I think maybe Little Brown Guy, who tipped the sand last time, he ran a lot better. So I went 5, 3, and 7 in the finale.
I went with the 9 Silver Ruler. This is a horse that
off the pace horse.
And off the pace horse just got beat for this condition by Ice Rules, who was on fire at that time. Then they jumped him up into an allowance race against High End Man, Timeless Storm, that double it race, which was it was an ambitious placement there. High End Man, as we mentioned earlier, it looks like
colts on the ground.
Absolutely one of the better 3-year-olds around these parts. Now he drops back into that race where he just got beaten next. So I think he's back at his spot. He should be tough in here. I have Silver Ruler on top, the 9. The second spot, I put Quattrill's Raiders. You mentioned the horse has been on fire since landing in the Phil Hall barn. Rattled off 2 wins in a row. Wouldn't be surprised to him to make it 3 in a row. And the horse you picked on top, Blood and Diamond, the 5. Jumped up into some tougher races, lands back more at his level. He should be tough in here too. So it's 9, 3, and 5 for me.
Well, there's all the insight for the Saturday, July 28th program at Hastings Racecourse. Hopefully we get you some winners. And speaking of winners, up next on screen will be hopefully a lot of them. A quick recap of all of our selections, both of our selections for the Saturday program. We'll start off with me out in the back in race number 1, I went to the 5 horse, Buffalo Babe. I went 5, 6, and 3. The second race, I went to the 6, 10, 30. Looks like he's going to be the favorite, or she's going to be the favorite, but I think she can beat the boys. I went 6, 8, and 7. Third race, number 7, Mucho Verde, hoping for a wire-to-wire victory, 7, 2, and 3. In the fourth race, I went to the 6, Huffman, 6, 9, and 3. In the fifth race, I went to the 3, Victory with Class, 3, 10, and 5. In the sixth race, number 8, Victoria B, 8, 2, 3. In the seventh race, our feature event, I went to the 1, My Bailout, 1, 7, and 4. And in the 8th and final, I went to the 5, Blood and Diamond. I went 5, 3, and 7.
And on to my picks. There we go. I agree with Mike on the daily double. I went with the 5 in the first, Buffalo Babe, over the 2 and 6. And the 6, 10, 30 in the second, over the 8 and 4. In the third, I went to the 4, Mo Power, over the 3 and 7. In the fourth, number 6, Huffman, over the 9 and 7. In the fifth, I went to the closing Maguire's Bridge, the 8, over the 7 and 3. In the sixth, I went with the 8, Victoria B, over the 2 and 4. In the seventh, I went with the hot Diana's Legacy, number 4, over 7 and 2. And in the nightcap, I went with the 9, Silver Ruler, over the 3 and the 5.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to the Saturday, July 28th edition of Handicappers Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. Hopefully we get you some winners throughout the afternoon. Please do enjoy a great afternoon of thoroughbred horse racing. On behalf of Drew, I've been Mike. Look forward to seeing everyone again here on Handicappers Corner.
Right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do.